Hello, my friend, and welcome back to the Modern Cavewoman Show. So, this week I have been thinking a lot about modern medicine. I'll tell you why in a minute. And I thought it would be really good to talk about modern medicine versus what I'll just cheeky call cavewoman medicine. And by that I mean more natural and holistic things like herbal remedies, essential oils, things like that that you've heard of, right? And so, really, one of the things that I felt like was really important to talk about, and this is just related to our well being, right? You know, this one of my big things is talking about well being. And modern medicine, like pharmaceuticals and different protocols, don't mix with these herbal remedies and natural remedies in a lot of cases. So you've probably even heard of things like certain medications. If you're taking certain medications, you're not supposed to have something like grapefruit. Don't eat grapefruit, don't drink grapefruit juice. And that's because there's something in grapefruit that metabolizes or interferes or reacts with those pharmaceuticals, those medicines, those prescriptions in your system that can cause them to go awry, right? Maybe it metabolizes them too quickly, so they don't have time to do what they're going to do, or certain things can interact and cause side effects that you definitely don't want, things like that. So it's really good when a doctor can tell you don't do certain things while you're on this medication to prevent that. And then I can tell you, even from personal experience, something like detoxing can detox your medicine. And so then you're really wasting that, right? And we don't want to do that. And even something as simple as oil pulling, like if you've heard of oil pulling, where you're detoxing your mouth and whitening your teeth and things like that, it can detox birth control pills. So then your birth control isn't as effective. And no one really talks about that a lot because, your doctor might ask you, what kind of things do you do? But if it's a routine that you're used to doing, you may not even think to mention it, and it could be affecting what you're doing. So I just wanted to bring that up because I think a lot of us do have these routines, and then maybe we go to the doctor and we get a prescription, and then we wonder why things aren't working quite right. And of course, your doctor maybe only spends 10 minutes with you, right? So you're not having a real conversation about what you're taking and what the side effects are and what could be interfering with it. And all the things. Like you might have to do a lot of your own research to find those things out, which of course is wonderful, right? Like we have the internet, we can easily get on and type in whatever the medication is and find out a whole lot of information about it. So I would always encourage you to do that. And then the holistic, natural cavewoman medicine side of it is something that I always lean towards. So listen, if I'm really sick, right? If this is an urgent situation, I'm broken and bleeding, get me to the hospital, right? I'm not at all against modern medicine. But if I'm just feeling kind of sick, I have a bad headache or kind of an upset tummy, I tend to lean towards doing some natural things, at least at first, right? To see what I can do to fix myself before I go running to the doctor. And now, this is based on a lot of personal experience, and I would love to hear what your experience is with going to the doctor. But in my experience, I have never had a good doctor experience. It's always been very negative, and they've never actually been terribly helpful to me, actually. So maybe I'll share a couple examples towards the end. But for my purposes right now, talking about natural ways that if you don't want to run to the doctor every time you feel kind of sick, even some of us grow up that way, right? Like I worked with an older lady one time who it was just her routine. If she had a scratchy throat and felt a cold coming on, she'd go to the doctor and get antibiotics. And now we know that if you have a virus, antibiotics aren't going to do you any good. And in fact, your body can build up a tolerance for them so that if in the future you do need antibiotics because you have an infection, a bacterial infection, it can actually not be effective, which is not a good thing, right? So we all know don't take medicine that you don't need because then if you actually do need it, your body might not actually respond to it. And so, by the way, listen, I'm not a doctor. This is just information I've gathered throughout my life. So, I would always encourage you to talk to your doctor and do your own research about anything I'm talking about, obviously. But for me, if I feel a cold coming on, I'm gonna go make myself, a cup of strong tea with honey. I'm gonna get some extra nutrition, my leafy greens, and maybe some extra vitamin C and some like hot lemon water. Hot lemon water with tea is one of my favorite things to do if I start to feel kind of tired and scratchy throat or stuffy nose. I'm going to turn to something like eucalyptus and a diffuser to help me breathe better before I turn to the cold medicines or, go to the doctor and get some kind of prescription. But if the eucalyptus essential oil isn't helping and the tea isn't making me feel much better, of course I'm gonna go, okay, what can I take, right? If I need to power through, what kind of cold medicine can I take? If I'm feeling really, really rotten, like this is an urgent situation, of course I'm gonna go to the doctor, right? Other things, I get a monthly really bad headache. So if you're here, you're probably one of my ladies and you may understand what that's like, that, hormones change and all of a sudden there's this bad headache. And if it's possible for me, I'm going to take again like that strong cup of tea because tea has different things in it that are actually pain relievers. And honey, I'm going to do a little honey because sweet stuff like honey and sugar are also known pain relievers. And I'm going to lay down with an ice pack on my head and my sleep mask over my eyes and maybe a heating pad on my tummy and see if I can just relax and maybe even sleep through it until I feel better. But if I really need to power through, maybe I will go ahead and take the Tylenol or the ibuprofen or whatever it is. And I do that knowing that there are side effects, right? We know that acetaminophen can cause liver damage. We know that ibuprofen can cause stomach bleeding and ulcers. And so I try not to make those part of my general routine. No one has yet, as far as I know, said that a nice hot cup of lemon water with honey in it is going to cause any kind of damage to your organs or anything like that. So I always feel like going towards the thing that is going to be the best for my body, which is often something natural. So let me know what you think about this topic. And my big takeaways that I really want to leave you with is to talk to your doctor if you're going for getting prescriptions and medical modern medicine about any kind of natural herbal kind of things you're doing and make sure that they're not going to interfere with each other because you don't want to waste your money on your medicine, right? And you also don't want to make yourself feel worse. So always talk to your doctor about things like that. And then the second takeaway is that if you're one of these people who maybe the answer has always been go to the doctor no matter what, if you've got a little headache, if you've got a little stomach ache, we go to the doctor and we get a prescription. That's fine. I'm not here to take away your judgment around that. Only you know what you need to do. But as a health coach, I also want to educate that there are natural options that don't come with side effects or a doctor's office visit. Sometimes doctor office visits aren't that great. And so it's something you can explore, right? And you can explore that with a really qualified health professional. You can do your own research. Sometimes it's common sense. Sometimes you might just be craving something, and that's just your natural ability, your inner cave woman telling you what to do. So be open to that. I'd like to encourage that and tell you just maybe one personal note that this is part of, I think everybody who has ever met me probably knows that I have celiac disease. And I was really, really sick for a long time, but it kind of reached the pinnacle where in just a couple weeks I lost 40 pounds. It was like less than a month. I literally dropped 40 pounds after I had already been losing weight along the way. And I'd been going to the doctor, and every time it was basically, there's nothing wrong with you. We can't find anything wrong with you. You must just be tired or stressed out. You need to work out. You need to eat more fiber for your stomach issues, things like that. Like, I literally had a doctor tell me, eat more whole wheat and test me once again to make sure I wasn't pregnant, which I wasn't, and I knew I wasn't. But then, if you know about celiac, the only thing you can do is to quit eating gluten, which is in whole wheat, right? Wheat, barley, and rye. I had to give those things up. So, after all the medical doctors told me there's nothing wrong with you, go home, eat whole wheat, and work out more, I lost so much weight, and I was crying in the doctor's office, and he ran a simple blood test and found out that I had celiac disease. And there is no medical protocol for that. All you do is quit eating gluten, quit eating these three grains. And so that's my personal most serious experience with my health. And that influences me why I tend to lean towards trying to figure out natural things. And I'll tell you another thing. This is maybe just a bonus personal experience. So, why I'm thinking so much about medicine this week is because I was watching this TV show. It had its series finale, and so I started watching it from the beginning, streaming it online through one of these free services. And there are just so many commercials for pharmaceuticals for different kinds of prescriptions. And I was thinking about how many people see these and go to their doctor and, because that's what it says, right? Ask your doctor if this is right for you. And how many doctors actually know? And one of them was for skin, like a dermatitis type situation, which I know absolutely can be very painful and debilitating. And it made me think about a couple years ago, I was having a skin problem where I was getting kind of a rash and just a dermatitis. I'll just call it that. And like there was a problem with my skin. It was kind of blistery and itchy and painful. And um I was like, I didn't know what was causing it. And so with my background as a health coach, I kind of went through the things like, am I using different kinds of soaps or lotions or laundry detergent? Um, is it something in the air, right? Am I allergic to something? Like what's irritating my skin from the inside or the outside? And I, looked at my products and I noticed that all of my lotions were basically petroleum based with alcohol in them. And so I did two things. One was I knew I wasn't getting enough sun at the time. I was spending a lot of time inside working on things. So I started getting myself outside every day for some direct sunlight because I thought maybe I'm, having a deficiency, like a vitamin D deficiency, or just the sun has lots of natural benefits besides just vitamin D. Um, I won't go into that right now. And the second thing is, I quit using all these products that had all these chemicals in them, and I scaled back to shea butter and coconut oil, just plain old unprocessed, the kind of coconut oil that's solid at room temperature. And that's what I was using. And within one day, my rashes were completely gone, like totally cleared up. And so then I realized that basically I was using products and had developed an allergy to them. Like these were things that I'd been using for a long time, but something, maybe the ingredients had changed because, companies do that, right? They change their ingredients all the time and they don't necessarily put big flags up there for you and let you know. Or I had just simply gotten overloaded on petroleum or maybe the alcohol. So, just on a side note, they put alcohol in lotion to break down your skin cells so that the ingredients in the lotion can penetrate deeper into your skin, which isn't always a good thing, by the way. Okay, so there's my personal experience about skin. And so when I see this drug commercial and the side effects are like diarrhea and blood clots and death, and these are the most common side effects. And it's like, if those are the top three side effects of this drug, I really hope that every doctor that prescribes it lets the patient know because maybe that painful skin situation isn't as bad as the potential of death. And of course, my leaning towards natural things, I would also encourage those people that, they tend to, I think what it is something an autoimmune disorder. But, as a doctor, could they take just some time with someone before prescribing something for this skin problem and say something like, okay, let's go really simple. Can you use plain coconut oil or olive oil or shea butter as a moisturizer? Let's look at what kind of allergies you have. Let's look at what might be triggering an autoimmune response in your system and see if there's things that we can actually eliminate that don't have these horrible side effects. So I don't know if that happens or not. I would love to hear if you've been in that kind of situation and you've had a doctor who really sits down and goes through what kind of things could be happening and tries to work it out. But from my experience and from what other people have told me, usually doctors come into the room and they have just a few minutes to look at you, diagnose you, and then they tell you if this doesn't work, come back, right? And you come back week after week after week until finally something happens or you give up. So, this is another big thing that I hear, especially with women, because and you can look up the statistics yourself, but women get misdiagnosed or not diagnosed, just told it's all in your head, go home, so much more than men do. And so a lot of women do just give up. And it's just like, well, I just have to live with whatever this is. And so that just breaks my heart. Why I always talk about, no, don't just live with it. Try to figure it out, right? Try to do an elimination diet, see if that helps. Try to change your products, see if that helps, or whatever it is, right? So that's just my personal note, my leaning. Like I said, I'm not a doctor. I would encourage you to always talk to your doctor about these different things. And I would also encourage you to do your research and talk to a qualified health professional who also leans towards natural things that don't have bad side effects to see if you can find solutions to your problems too. But of course, if you're broken or bleeding, get you to the hospital, get your emergency care. Don't die because you don't know a natural solution to that broken bone or that huge gash on your head. Believe me, I've known people who would like to lean that way, but I would not recommend it. I would recommend getting the help that you actually need every time, all the time. Okay? So there we go. And one more thing, and I want to know your opinion on this. So if you will, leave me a comment or send me a message through my website privately if you want to give me a private message. You can go to thecolenebean.com/contact and send me a text message right to my phone. And here's my question. So in these drug commercials, if you watch along the bottom, they always have all the disclaimers, right? And every single one of them that I have seen says actor portrayal. So you see these people for, this like uh whatever kind of drug. I'm thinking about one for like Crohn's disease. And here's these people out on this boat and they're sailing and they're doing all these fun activities as if this medicine for Crohn's disease has completely cured their need to go to the bathroom. And it says actor portrayal at the bottom. And I always think that these drug companies should have actual patients, people who are actually taking that drug in the commercial. I feel like it's false advertisement to some degree to have actors in a commercial that's talking about take this medication to solve your health problem. when those actors don't even have that health problem. So let me know what you think about that. That's maybe just a pet peeve about advertising that I have, that if you know anything about Crohn's disease, which I am a little educated in it, it's also classified sometimes as an autoimmune disorder. And I just find it hard to believe that someone could take a medicine that suppresses their immune system and do what they're doing in the commercial. I just find it hard to believe. And maybe they can. And because, of course, anything's possible, I do believe everything and anything is possible. But that's just my little tidbit about advertising. So let me know what you think. And I wish you a wonderful week full of health and feeling well and happy and wonderful. So have a beautiful week, and I'll talk to you again next week. Bye.